Hello and welcome back to day 16 of the Greatness Within journey. 31 days to reconnect with yourself and start confidently creating a life worthy of you. We are entering the third stage, the step three, purposely claiming your space, or the designer phase of the process. This is the part where you take the things you have identified in the previous exercises and start figuring out how to align your life towards them. There are going to be two areas that I'll talk, and one of them is the mental aspect of things, and the other one is just the strategies, which is what a lot of people write about. And you have probably heard of all the things that I'll share. It's just I'm gonna give it a different twist and the way I interpreted them and apply them in my life. So, um, what is purposely claiming your space? In my mind, you now know more about who you are, what you want to stand for, what is your ideal situation, and now you want to apply that. You're trying to express yourself in the world, and this is the designer phase because you start thinking about how to move pieces here and there so that your life starts aligning to what you just identified in the previous steps. That is purposely claiming your space because you have to intentionally do it. Otherwise, other people's agendas and other expectations will come in to your life, and you'll start creating stuff for other people and not creating the life that you want. So that is why I say purposefully claiming your space. So let's talk about the mental barriers first. And there are three. I'm just going to talk about the first one in this video, and then I'll touch on the other two in the following videos. So the first concept or mental battle that I had was this need to help other people and their agendas. And I identified it as people pleasing. But since a lot of people don't like that statement, or they may not consider themselves people pleasers, let's just call it other people's agendas. So this is like your company's agenda, your boss agenda, your friends, your family. Like other people have plans, and you feel this need to kind of like help them progress in those plans, or you just have this obligation to play a role in them. So at some point you kind of like have this mental attachment to helping other people feel good, improve, and you want to deliver for them. You don't want to let them down. So that there's a complex mix of feelings and attitudes and behaviors that you start following, that is all related to this concept of you're trying to help other people before you help yourself. So that is kind of like my way of thinking of people pleasing. The next one is the need to be right. So this is just wanting to be perfect. This is my perfectionism. This is just wanting to know all the tools that you need before you actually take the first step. It's maybe knowing all the answers before you even decide to do something. It's whatever you think you need to know or do before something happens. And then the third mental barrier is the need for work-life balance. But I get into those in the specific videos. Let's just talk a little bit about people pleasing, and then we'll go to the exercise. So let's just say if you have certain areas that you have found yourself trying to help other people's agenda succeed, and that's not a bad thing. It's just more like you put that before your own, or you are placing that agenda in a much more in a higher importance level than yours, and there's no way, like, you're not seeking for ways to harmonize with it or align with it. You just simply relinquish your agenda in the pursuit of other people's expectations. So if you're struggling with it, here are 5 ideas that I kind of had to work through myself. They may not apply all to you, but it's just something to consider. The first one is separate identity from the outcome. So a lot of times I wanted to be right. I wanted things to come out properly because I didn't want to disappoint. And I also felt like if I failed at doing something for my manager or my company or my friends, there was going to be some version of devaluing of myself. And I guess the easiest way to see this is the idea of, like, you have to perform in order to get a promotion. And I started connecting that concept to my self-worth, and then I would put things that I wanted to do as secondary or in the background because I was trying to perform, because I thought that if I perform I had better value. So, like, that's just kind of like one of the mindsets you have to work through. Identity, your worth, or your identity is not attached to whatever outcomes you see, because you can always change the outcomes, and but you, it's something completely different. And that's why we went through the process of the purpose statement and the things you're not, and vision, strengths, and values, because that is a better, like, objective in a way, standard for you to decide whether you have value or not, and the identity pieces. So that's number one. Number two is love doesn't need proof, and this is more for when I was trying to validate my parents' needs or expectations. I was trying to make them proud. I played baseball because my dad wanted me to play sports, so I kept playing this sport as a way to thank him for everything he was doing. I did actual science because my mom wanted me to do that or offer me to do that. So I went to college in the United States because she wanted me to learn English. So I was doing a lot of things out of meeting the needs, or not the needs, but like trying to honor my parents' upbringing. And I just realized after having my own daughter that that's not necessary. Yes, it's cool to see uh, the kids, like, meet and exceed expectations of their parents, but the reality is, like, it wasn't necessary or it's not needed. It's just something we want the best for them, and they wanted the best for me, and I just didn't have to prove anything. So I didn't make the connection until I had my own child. So love doesn't need proof. When somebody loves you, you don't have to prove to them you're valuable. They already know, and it's just not connected. But we tend to make the connection. Number three is friends make you better, not hold you back. And this is more about people that choose to not pursue their dreams because of what their friends might think, or maybe because they think some friends will live their life, or you're going to lose some relationships. Like, this idea of friends that accept you just the way you are, I don't buy into it. Friends should help you become the best that you can. And that is not necessarily telling you you're doing something wrong because they think they have the right answer. It's just more about them pushing you to be the best that you can be. And also love you in a way that they support what you're trying to do. So if you have people that will push back and they will hold you back when you try to do what you want to do, it's worth evaluating those relationships, because they may not be your friends. You may be calling them friends, but they're not necessarily your friends because they can't support some of the ideas and things that you're trying to get into. Then the next one is number four, and that is working together doesn't mean you have to do it the same way. That is more of my situation because I wanted to do things differently. I was always wanted to challenge the status quo, and the example of that came from because me trying to be an actuary, I thought I needed to finish all my certifications and things in order to be valuable to the group and the company. So when I decided to stop halfway and just focus on work and saw other people get promoted faster than I did just because they had more exams than I did, I started like doubting myself. And the reality was that it just took me longer to get to the same level of promotion. It took me longer, it took a little bit more effort, but it wasn't necessarily a life or death situation. So just because other people do it a certain way doesn't mean you have to do it that way. There may be other ways for you to do it, and this comes more from what is it that you want to do personally, how you want to express it, your values, your strengths, and all that stuff comes into play in there. And then number five is you are the measuring stick. At the end of the day, when life is over, you're the one that is going to decide whether you did your best and all you could, or you left things on the table. So it doesn't matter what other people think, it doesn't matter what they value, it doesn't matter what they expected. What matters is that you did the best that you could to be yourself, to pursue what you wanted to do, and you're the one that's going to keep score, because that's what we do. We seem to remember everything we do say and happens to us. We're the ones keeping score. So maybe it should be about us becoming the best expression of ourselves, because at the end, that's where we provide the greatest value. So that is my kind of spiel on this concept of people pleasing and addressing one of those, how to break away from it. And now the exercise is pretty straightforward. It's just sit down and reflect. In what ways have you allowed your um, actions to be influenced by maybe the fear of what other people might think, or maybe the obligation to meet their expectations? So think about, where are you changing the way you act and operate, the things you commit to out of fear of what people might think, or maybe you feel obligated to meet their expectations. That's the exercise. It's a reflection exercise. It's no right or wrong. It's just become aware of the things that you are doing, and then once you're aware, you can do something about them. But if you're not aware, you just keep doing it and never really notice. So go through the exercise. Let me know what you think. Let me know what comes up, and I'll see you on the next mental